So, back to my Orlandoo stuff. Um, my version 1 carbon fiber chassis that I was building for this truck is being passed on. Since I made the paperclip chassis for that blue truck, and I know I'm not going to build this for myself, I'm not going to use this chassis, I decided to do a little work to it and pass it on to a friend that I met on Facebook. It's the same guy that just sent some parts to for his aluminum axles, the servo mounts, off of my green Jeep that I'm not going to use. So anyway, I decided to do some more work to this chassis and get it shipped out to him eventually. I'm going to order the 5-door Jeep body so I can shorten this chassis just a little. Made a little mark there. I think that's about where I'm going to need to shorten the front for it to work. I'll have to do some work on the upper shock mount blades, and I cut the top out right here because I was originally using this for this transmission, or gearbox, whatever you want to call it, and that would have sat low enough that it would have fit underneath this top plate. But the original transmission or gearbox sticks up just a little, so I cut that piece out that was in between here that went across, and I mean, it still gives it a lower center of gravity than it would with the stock Jeep chassis, or, well, any of the Orlandoo chassis. But on my green truck, I put the original flat skid plate off of this on this. So this is my original flat skid plate. It's really thin. If I can get this on camera. There you go. It's really thin compared to the one that I just made tonight, well, last night. That one is 2 thin sheets put together, and the one that I made for this one is the same thickness as 2 thin sheets, and then I added another thin sheet to it, so it's actually 3 layers thick. You can see the line in the middle of this. That is basically 2 layers, but this is not something I laminated myself. This is cut off of this sheet, which is already basically 2 layers thick. I don't remember the exact measurements, and I don't read Chinese, so if you know what that is. Here you go. Get this flipped around. There you go. 3.0 millimeters thick. So I add, it's 3.0, and then add one more layer of sheet to it, and that's what I did to make this skid plate. It's a lot thicker. You can see the thickness. I did some little cutaways right here right here for the drive shaft, front and rear. This would be the front. You see the blades are the front. The front of the chassis is already shorter than the rear. But anyway, did some little cutaways there for the drive shaft just to make sure. And on this chassis, the way I've cut this out, on my other skid plate that's on the green truck, the ball screws go into the skid plate itself right here. On this one, because of the way I've made this chassis, the lower suspension mounts, the ball screws will go here in the lower holes. The upper holes here are for the upper links, and those screws, ball screws, go on the inside of the chassis. So it'll be inside for the uppers, outside for the lowers. Rear shock mount, I've only got one hole because that was for that truck, and that's where it seemed to be the best, and it actually did work pretty good. If Ken wants to put more holes, I can do that for him, or he can do that himself. It's his choice. You can just put them straight into the chassis. Sorry, I just ate some cookies. But yeah, I think it'll be a good fit for the 5-door Jeep. I just need to cut the front part of the chassis off a little bit, and then redo this plate for the front. I'm talking about this piece right here. It just needs scooted back, and this needs zipped off right all the way across. I might have to do the front and rear, but I don't think I should. But this is, I mean, this was a prototype. I'm not going to use it. So just paying it forward, passing it on. I'm going to give him a set of axles, that the ones that are on my green truck. I'm going to send those to him too. I've been talking to him quite a bit about stuff, and I don't really like those big axles. So maybe he can build this 5-door Jeep mega mud truck, whatever type deal he wants to do with it, mega crawler or something, put some big huge tires on it. I'm not going to give away everything I got. Just, like I said, I've been talking to him quite a bit. Going to help the guy out, give him something to have some fun with, something to finish. It's a project I'm not going to finish this. I'm not going to finish and build myself, for myself. He'll have to get gears, he'll have to get ball screws, rod ends, all that kind of stuff. I'm also giving him some small pieces of carbon fiber that I cut previously. I was going to make links out of them. He'll have to file those down and thread them and do his own thing to make the links work. He liked the idea of it, so it'll be a little bit of a chore for him, a little bit of a project on those, but like I say, he liked the idea of it. I've been kind of burnt out on the Orlandoos lately, so passing that one on. I've got others that I'm planning on finishing, carbon fiber ones, paperclip ones, all that stuff. So and I have been working on them off camera quite a bit, here and there, not constant. So I don't know if you can see it back there. I know a lot of people liked it, so I'll go ahead and pull this up here and show it. I got my front suspension done on my modified X01. I had to cross drill that brass, and they're not they're not straight the way they should be. One's crooked as hell compared to the other, but it is what it is. They're level enough that it sits flat. It sits up higher in the front than it does in the back. I'm not worried about it because it's a bouncer, and I need either a narrower front axle for the thing or a wider rear axle, because these are two different size axles. This is my widened axle, and this is just a stock X01 axle. But the stock X01, and these are the X02 rear shocks. I don't remember what the front ones are. They're not X02s. I think those are just stock X01s. I don't really know anymore. So, but these are X02 rear shocks on the back of here. I did have some janky ones on there that I mixed and matched with Losi's, and yeah, they weren't going to work too great. But these will do the job. It's got just enough flex that I'm satisfied with that, and it will, the little stabilizer bar that I put on there, whatever you want to call this, is going to keep it from twisting too much. It's going to make it more stable. The front is just going to be like that. So the front will articulate pretty good. The rear is not for articulation, it's to keep it level, because I'm going to try and build this one kind of fast. I want it to be a bouncer, not a crawler. This one will be one that I can beat the shit out of. But with that said, I also, I know people are wanting me to build stuff and finish what I've started, but my paperclip Jeep Exo cage, I finally cut the little brass plates that I need to put in the upper shock mounts in the chassis, and I'll have to cut this out to the right shape after I drill the holes and then solder it in each one. And I'll have to do the rear is going to be a pain in my ass to solder in, because it's up inside here. Front ones won't be a problem though. But that's, got that planned out to work, and measured it out. I'm pretty sure that the GK24 lower links, I think these are the lower links, they're thicker than the Orlandoos, and reverse thread on one end, regular thread on the other. They have solid end ball cap link ends. I'm going to use these on it. I measured it out and they should work pretty much perfect. I don't know if you can see it, but when I get the axles, I'll make a decision on where to put the other end here. So that's going to go together eventually. And my bouncer back here, I don't remember what I originally was calling this thing, but the other night I took some green stuff putty, well, the other day, and I had over half of this thing covered with green stuff putty, and was gonna name it the Goblin just because it was green and funky looking, but it just wasn't working out. It wouldn't stick to it right. So I stripped it all off. That's one side shinier than the other right now. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but this side's a lot shinier from stripping all that off. But I haven't done much to anything else other than I put springs on the outside of these Orlandoo shocks, the X02 shocks that are on here, front and rear. Flipped them upside down, gave it some ride height. It's no longer a belly dragger, still works great. Doesn't have the articulation that it did when it was set up as a belly dragger. which, I mean, that's kind of a given. There's springs in there holding it now, so, but it still works great on my desk anyway. Definitely has better performance because of the ground clearance, so quite a bit of space underneath it now, so kind of liking that. The MO2 wheels, MO1, MO2 aluminum wheels with these tires work okay together. They do come off, they're not glued, and I do have weights in them that I made. I think it's brass and copper, I don't even remember. Yeah, but it's a good performer. It's fun. Still anticipating Don from Tiny 4x4 putting these out for sale. I'd probably buy another kit. Still super thankful and grateful that he sent me this one, and can't boast on it enough. Even in short track with all that, it was an awesome little buggy. I just wanted to stretch it out and longer wheelbase, do the aluminum axles and stuff, and kind of go my own route with the setup. The brushless motor works great. The servo works great. Furatech Lizard ESC's working great. My GT5's working great. So really happy about this. I took the other receiver that came with the GT5 when I ordered that transmitter. I took the other receiver, popped it in my blue Jeep. Need a servo for this now, so that'll be a. It's just got a TS 0001 or whatever it is in there, but as far as the forward and back goes, you know, it's TS 0001, whatever. It's, everybody knows the performance of that. This one works okay, so hopefully it doesn't fry. I just need a servo for that, a servo for my green Jeep. Got the drive shafts in my red truck. Got those in and mounted. So Raptor is getting closer. A lot of stuff, a little bit here and there. Had a lot of other things going on. Refrigerator quit working, stove quit working. Got another refrigerator. It doesn't work. So that's some stress. But that's just how life is. Sometimes you're on it, sometimes you're not. And this has just been the beginning of this year has just been kind of back and forth. A little bit of good, a little bit of bad. So, and it seems to be daily. So I'm hoping everybody's doing great. Sorry I've not been posting much, just stressed out and irritated on everything. And I've been obviously putting my stress here. When it gets too thick, got to come in here and take it out on something so I don't break other things. But not gonna stress enough on how thankful I am to people for watching my videos and talking to me and listening to me ramble and vent when I need to. And I'll just say that the guy that I'm giving this to, he's listened to me vent and bitch and complain about stuff, and he's not really had nothing negative to say. So much appreciated, Kenneth. And as soon as I get the body, I'll order that as soon as I can, but I don't have it right now. As soon as I get the body ordered and it comes in, I'll get this all adjusted and figure out how we're gonna do this body mounting. I was thinking about cutting a slot in here, but then I had the thought, if we do the slot in here, it's got to be up really high. I might have to make new end pieces for the bumpers to mount on this, on the ends, and then clip the body right at the top. So like I said, I might have to cut new ends for it. It's not a big deal. It doesn't take much to cut them and get them shaped. The number one tool for cutting carbon fiber is these little thin cut-off wheels. That's the best thing. It zips right through it. Lowest speed on my Dremel is 5,000 RPMs, and that's what I run it at constant. I hardly ever turn it up over that. So I've done a lot of videos explaining my methods on how I do everything, and you know, this will kind of show you the Bob Smith Industries epoxy that I've used in here to bond these two pieces together. I've not filed the sides down. I did trim off the bubbled out area there, but you can see it here. When I laid it on my desk and weighted it down, squished it out, that Bob Smith Industries epoxy, it's not coming off of there. I mean, that's it's just not. It's stuck. So that's what I'm using to bond pieces together like that. This whole chassis, every seam on this chassis was done with CA glue, super glue, and that was before I had purchased Bob Smith Industries 5-minute epoxy. So actually no, that is a lie. I do apologize. I did this with epoxy first with Bob Smith, and it came apart. I can't remember what I did, but it came apart. I don't know what I did wrong. So that's when I used CA glue, and it worked great. So, but the rest of everything else I've been doing, I guess leaving it set longer is giving it a better bond, because I was cutting on this and drilling on this and piling on it and sanding on it. I used all kinds of stuff to get this shaped and drilled and everything, and it didn't bubble up and come apart like some of it has before. So sometimes I don't like working with carbon fiber, and sometimes it just works out. And this piece right here came out a lot better than my first one, although it is thicker and does set up higher. And yes, the inside is notched for the gear, just like this one. That cutout right there, I did the same thing to this one. So it's set and ready. I've got pictures of it on Facebook. Orlandoo Hunter Builders Guild, I think. The Don Gargan group. That's where he's at all the time. Or was. I haven't seen him on there in quite a while. Hope he's doing alright. He is still, I have talked to him a couple of weeks ago, I guess. He is still working on getting the R32 buggy kit out. If anybody wants to know, y'all can get on the group and chat it up with him. That way I'm not going to give out everything as far as his business, but he is still working on trying to get the kit ready to be sold. There's been some issues. He explained to me everything, and he's still working on it. He was saying sometime after the first of the year. So understandable, things happen, but I'm anticipating it because I do want to do another one. I'd like to buy one and pay it forward to him, so to speak, for giving me the opportunity to build this on my channel. And it was just a great opportunity for me, and I enjoyed it. So I'm sure other people would have built theirs differently, I just kind of wanted to do my own thing. There's definitely some things I would change if I had another one. I want to build one that's faster. This one is just straight up a crawler. It's not a racer at all. But I would like to build another one to make it faster and more of a bouncer. Shorter wheelbase. Yeah. So eventually that'll be a thing too. I'll try and get me another one, but much appreciated to Don for this one. This is, I would call this more of a prototype. He's got several that he's done and gave out to people for testing. This is, as far as I know, the last one that he passed out to anyone, and it's different. It's definitely different. I've not really done any comparisons. And that's the thing too. The Gammy RC Baby Fat Girl, the Do-Rock, I would love to do shorter wheelbase R32 to compete with those. Kind of, you know, this one's long wheelbase, bigger tires, different axles. It's not really and it's brushless. Those are not. I could swap everything out and mix match, and I'm just not going to do all that. I'd rather build a complete different one to drive along with the Gammy and the Do-Rock that are more sized the same. Just because. And just go a different route with the next one. But yeah, hopefully I can get this all worked out to where I can do some more stuff. If anybody is interested in carbon fiber stuff, I don't mind working on it. I can't do it for free. This one is my one freebie, and it's going to someone specific. So if anybody wants carbon fiber stuff, and you can get me the information or measurements of what you're wanting, I can do it. I'm not sure how we'll do the payment method, but I can't do it for free. I gotta have an income. I gotta have a source for supplies and everything. Nothing's free in this world completely. This chassis alone, I've spent hours working on this before I decided to give it away, and I've spent more hours building the skid plate, and I smoothed out the bottom of the chassis more, and smoothed out this part of the chassis, and I've got to do more work to it. So I'm helping a friend out with this one. But if anybody wants me to do the labor, it's not something that's fun to do. It's itchy. You get this stuff all over your skin. It's dangerous. You're not supposed to breathe it in. You get it in your eyes, you're going to mess your eyes up. It's a kind of a health hazard. So, and I completely understand people not wanting to do it on their own, but as far as people wanting them, I can do the work, and we can discuss payments, or you can get your own and do it yourself. It's your call. I will show right now. Get this set up on grams. This chassis with the screws that are in it. Get this tear 0 grams with the transmission in it, and no gears. There's nothing inside it. A little bit of grease from where I used it before, but this is bare chassis, Oh, let me tear that again. We got 0 grams. Showing 6 to 7 grams. Nothing on it. Just the chassis, 7 grams. With the 5, 4. It's a great scale. 3. You know what? Tear it again. Set down nice and gentle. 5 grams. So I mean the whole chassis here, carbon fiber, with the plastic motor transmission thing in it, it's 5 grams. I'm just gonna say 5 grams. So I sat it down and went right back to 5. Now I show 7. I hate this scale. It's close enough. But if anybody is interested in a specific design cut out of carbon fiber and can understand that I do not have machinery that I do this with, no laser cutter, no CNC, I'm doing this by hand. So perfection is not a thing in my world. You can see cut marks, crooked lines. If you're okay with that, and I mean the thing is, it's straight on the ends, straight on the sides. Some of my cuts are a little off, but I can do this. I can do this stuff. Not an issue. When I'm saying crooked lines, you can see right here, it's a little off. It's a little off. Not bad. Tolerable. I'm rambling. I've had my coffee, my tea, some cookies. I'm not going to get into digging in boxes right now, or I'd pull out my other carbon fiber chassis and show them. Actually, you know what? Hold on. That was so easy, so difficult. I mean, took me forever. Here's the one that I was making for my pink truck, a little Datsun Sunny. Carbon fiber chassis rails. Never did finish it, but that's the rails I was making for that. And here's another one that I made. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen this. This will fit the 2-door, or well, 3-door Jeep, and gives you servo clearance back here for rear steer, and also gives you the center drop to lower the center of gravity, lower the transmission all the way down here, the skid plate, and gives